How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the final video for the beginner series, but don't worry, there will be another series coming very soon. And before we get started, I just want to give thanks to my Patreons who are right here. Remember, there are 2 levels of Patreon so you can participate in. The first level, you'll get some Discord goodies and more access to me on Discord, and the second level, you get a thank you here and you get to see my videos early access. And one of the things that I included in the last video was that every now and then I will be sharing some assets for my patrons at the level 2 as well. But if you can't do the Patreon, then just leaving a like, leaving a comment goes a long way for the YouTube algorithm and for my videos to get out there. Now for this particular video, we're going to be talking about the background mountains, and I'm going to divide it into sections. One, it's going to be the quick part, which is just using a pre-made asset, and the other one, we're actually going to make the asset ourselves, and we're going to go back into Quixel Mixer to add some textures to it. Since we are done with this series, one thing that I would like is, I like to see what you made with this. So there's a Discord down below so you can join, and we're going to have a specific channel for people to share what they have made with this series. I want you to be creative, do whatever comes to mind with all the things that I taught you, because that is the best way to learn how to use a new tool, is by practicing and doing it yourself. So create something, post it on our Discord, and I'm going to gather the best pictures and I'm going to showcase them on the channel. We'll be also talking about that in a coming video. Now let's get on to the video. Okay, here we are, and like I said in the beginning, there are going to be 2 parts. We're going to do the easy and quick part first, and then we're going to go into the more complex one, but still the one that everybody can do. So for this, we are going to be using an asset that is in the permanent free collection, so everyone should be able to access this asset at no cost. Is this landscape background. There's going to be a link in the description so you can go and download it if you haven't already. And as you can see, this one contains several types of mountains that we could use for the background. It has various different settings, from kind of like this desert looking to this one with a lot of trees. So we have a lot of options that we could use for our planet. Now, one of the things you have to bear in mind is these are backgrounds. So I would not use these for terrains, but for backgrounds actually look pretty nice. Now this is made so far for Unreal Engine until Unreal Engine 4.26. I believe you can use it with 4.27. But if you're gonna use it with Unreal Engine 5 like I did, all you have to do is make it into a project with the previous version and then migrate it like I've shown before. So once you have it in the engine, you're gonna see that you have this photo R backgrounds, and we have some maps over here. Let's actually go to the overview map so you can see all the backgrounds it contains. All right, here we are, and that took a little while because it needed to compile the shaders, but as you can see, this pack is very good for backgrounds. So we have various things that we can choose from. It has these 360-degree backgrounds. So the point of these is that you have your staging area or your landscape or whatever. You have it here in the middle, and then you have this surrounding your staging area, or you can just use the modular ones, which are down here, and there are several of them. However, I have used these, the 360, I have used them as modular as well. This is one of the best things about this pack, is that everything can be used modular pretty much. So let's just add that to our map. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to go into the main folder. There is a meshes folder, and you can see it also comes with some trees, a couple materials, and we have several folders here. So we have the 360 ones if you want to grab some of these, and we have the modular ones. So I'm going to go, let's see, the modular fall, and I think this is the same one that I had on the other level. So we're just going to throw it in here and see how it looks. And as you can see, these are huge, so they are meant to be in the background. I'm just gonna go and do this, throw it all the way back here, And let's see how that looks from our camera. And if I press letter G, very cool. Actually, let's just get out of the camera, go back here, and we'll probably reduce the size because it is occupying a lot of space and I want a little bit more variation in between the two pillars. So I'm just gonna do, let's say, a little bit more than half. Go back to my camera and do like this, hold the key of Alt so we can duplicate it, and maybe do something like this, and we have a little bit of variation over there. And if you want it, you can extend and have even bigger mountains in the background. So let's say we want to have something much bigger here, so we can duplicate it towards the back, holding the letter Alt, the key of Alt. And I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to just do like this. Just so we have a little bit more variation. So I'm going to throw it all the way towards the back. Let's see how that looks with our camera. And again, just so we have more depth to our scene. Take another one of these, and one of the things I like to do is we can scale this in the z-axis. So maybe this one we do this, and it's not as big, and there you go. Just lower this a little bit, just so we have a bit more depth in there. And as you can see, that's the quick mountains that I had on the other setting. However, I'm going to show you another way to do this in Blender so we can get a much more customized kind of landscape if you would just want to throw that out there in the back. Alright, like I mentioned in the beginning, this part is going to be in Blender. It's going to be not super complex, it's actually pretty easy. We're going to showcase an add-on, is that how you say it? But well, you just have to use Blender. So I think from 2.8 beyond, you should be able to have this already installed in Blender. You don't have to download anything extra, but I'm going to use this version right here. So I'm going to start with a general, and if you've never used Blender before, I'm not going to go over how to use Blender, just what's specific to this tool, but maybe a little bit about navigation, scroll wheel, up and down, zoom in. If you hold the key of Shift, you can pan around. If you just hold your middle mouse, you can rotate. And that's about most of what you need for navigation. So I'm gonna get rid of this light and the cube that's like the norm here in Blender. And we're gonna go into Edit, Preferences. And over here, you're gonna hit the Add-ons tab, and we're gonna look for Landscape. And you're gonna get this little add-on right here. It's called Mesh ANT Landscape. This is what's going to allow you to do what we're gonna do right now. So after you have that checked, you don't even have to restart Blender. All you have to do is Shift A and Mesh, and you're gonna go into Landscape. Okay, once you click this, you're gonna get this little landscape right here. But make sure you don't click away, because if you do, then you're going to lose the menu to be able to do this in real time. Once you click off, there is a menu right here that you can use for this if you want to do any extra modifications, but you have to regenerate every single time, and the changes are not in real time, like I said in the beginning. So it's better just to be at a level where you're happy with this, with your settings, and after that you can do anything else. So as you can see, we have tons of parameters that we can play with. I'm not going to go too in depth into this. However, I'm going to add a little bit more subdivisions here. So I'm going to go to 256 by 256. And it's going to add a little bit more detail to my landscape. So you can also alter the size. So if you want to make it a little bit bigger as well, you can just do 4x4, and we actually have a kind of like a nice wide mountain. And then the main thing that you're probably going to want to use is the operator presets. So over here, you click here, you have a ton of things that you can choose from. You even have a large terrain, you have a mesa, you have a canyon, which I think it's pretty useful, especially if you're doing deserts. You also have the mountain number 2, which is the one that we're going to use because we don't need kind of like those peak mountains that you see. These are going to be background mountains, so I'm not going to fully worry about their resolution and how high they are. I just like the fact they are like this. And usually when you see mountains on the horizon, you don't see them peak, you just see them this way. So I'm going to stick with this. On the high we have 0.4. You can increase or decrease this if you wanted to. We do 0.5, it's a little bit taller. I think this is fine. And we're going to leave it at this for now. So I'm just going to click off. We're ready with our mountain. Now, before we texture this, because we're going to texture this in Mixer, we are actually going to have to unwrap it. So as you can see, this is kind of dense. If you were talking about in terms of game asset, this is a little bit dense. For a background asset, we could have maybe done 128. Again, that's up to you and your system, but know that we can always use Nana because we're using Unreal Engine 5. So for that, we're just going to go into the UV editing mode. And again, I'm not a Blender expert, so if I'm doing something wrong or if you know of an easier way to do this, just let me know in the comments down below. I'm really happy to hear new tips and suggestions. Now with that, we're going to press the letter U. I'm going to click Unwrap. And there you go. Now we have our object unwrapped, completely unwrapped in here. And that's all we needed to do. Very nice and painless. So what I'm going to do now is just make sure that I have my mesh selected and we're going to export it out as an FBX. So we're going to go here, export FBX. Okay, here we are in Quixel Mixer. And again, I do have a playlist for beginners. It's going to be down in the description below if you're interested in going more in depth with this texturing program. But for now, I'm just going to dedicate this tutorial to the tools that we're going to use to get our background mountains. So if you go into Setup, Model Settings, Type, we're going to change this plane to Custom Model. Now I'm going to load what I just took out of Blender, which is this land_back. Open that. And as you can see, we have our mountains right here. And let's see, texture resolution 4K. Again, this depends on what you're trying to achieve. It doesn't have to be 4K, to be honest. It can be 2048. So then we go to layers and we're going to be adding a surface. So once you click here, it's going to take you to your local library. And this depends on what you have downloaded. If not, if there's something else that you want, you can just go online and look for it as if you're browsing Quixel Bridge. So I think I'm going to use this. Let's see how that works. Okay, this actually looks cool, but it does have a little bit of vegetation, which really doesn't go with what we're trying to do. So let me look for another type of ground. We can search here for surface, and we're going to change that to, let's see, debris displacement ground. Not grass, but ground. And let's see, stone. Let's see which one we like about here. This one's kind of cool, dry rocky ground. I'm actually gonna download this one. And now that is in my mixer library, I'm just gonna click on it. And I'm just gonna get rid of this layer. There you go. So now we have some nice and cool mountains, and again, this is going to be in the background, so it should not be affected much with the resolution or anything else. I'm going to uncheck displacement because I really don't think we need displacement. You can choose whatever other textures you want, but let's just try to mix it up a little bit. So let's go here in ground and look for rocks. And over here in rocks, we have different types of colored rocks. Some of them have moss. I don't know, let's just do this Canyon Sandstone. I'm gonna download it. Alright, this actually looks a lot better. And one of the things I'm gonna do, I like this one as a base. Yeah, I do like this one as a base a lot. I'm going to uncheck displacement because again, this is an asset that's going to be seen from far away. And we can also change the projection. So right now it's in box projection, which doesn't look bad, but it can look better if we do tiling. So as you can see, that changed a little bit, and we can actually tile. Let's see if we tiled it 2 times. That actually looks much better. All right, so if I turn on this one and make sure that this one is on tiling as well, what we're gonna do is see if we can transfer some of the elements from this one into this one. So for that, we're gonna use a mask stack, so this little piece right here, and we're going to add a curvature. So the curvature, if you hit the key number 9, this is what's a curvature map. It's just detecting the edges and crevices. Now we can change it to something else, like edges only, or we could do cavities only, something like that. As you can see, it's following the curvature from my underlying mix, meaning it's following the curvature of the Canyon Sandstone that we have underneath. And we can play with the levels to make it brighter or darker. I'm actually going to leave it like this and see how it looks by pressing the number 1. Alright, so as you can see, we have some variation in our cracks and crevices, because if I turn this off, then these little variations that I have over here, they go away. So again, this is if you wanted to add a little bit more styling and you want to get some more customized landscape for your background, this is the way to go. And you can get tons of this with the Blender add-on that I just showed you. So again, if you didn't watch the episode before this, where I use Mixer with the pillar, all you have to do is go to export, search for a folder where you want to export this out, and you can actually export your FBX model as well, so you don't have to look for it or place it somewhere else. I always leave default, and make sure you change the resolution to the desired one. In this case is 2048, because it always defaults to the lowest resolution. Okay, here we are in our map, and what I did is actually just hit the mountains that we have placed in the beginning, and we're going to place the mountain that we just created. But before that, and again, in case somebody hasn't seen the episode before, I'm just going to create the material here real quick. Usually when you import something from anywhere, by default, Unreal creates a material for you. So just delete that 3 vector content that I just deleted and start putting your textures here. So we have our albedo is our base color. We have our AO is over here. AO is AO. We also have our normal map, and we have a roughness map as well. We can just throw in here. There you go. So I'm going to apply and save this. And because this is the material that Unreal created by default, it's going to get instantly applied to the mesh. Now, if I take the mesh over here, you can see it's pretty tiny, but we're just going to throw it to the background, so it doesn't matter that much. Now, I'm just going to go probably around 50 when it comes to the size, so make sure you have the padlock on. And there you go, 50. I'm gonna throw it all the way to the back, and we're gonna go back into our perspective. I'm sorry, the camera, so we can see what's going on. So I'm just gonna put this here, hold the key of Alt, maybe take another one, place it here, and we can actually rotate it as well, just to get some variation and modularity out of that. We can even make it bigger if we needed to. And I'm going to get another one for here. Now, let's just create some depth and make them like this one. I'm just gonna make it closer. This one, I'm gonna make it further away. I'm going to take out another one like this, and I'm just going to erase it just a tad. And let's see how that looks. And there you go. We have a little bit of depth in our scene. So what I did here is I just created a very simple system just to change the coloring of our textures really quickly, kind of like what Quixel does. So it only consists of vector 3. Vector 3 is just hold the key of 3 and you get one of those. You look for the multiply node, or you can just hold the letter M and there you go. And we're doing a vector 3 multiplied by a number, and then all that we're combining it by multiplying it with our texture sample into our default base color. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this, and I'm going to actually create an instance so I can move those in real time. Now I'm going to get this instance over here. There you go. So we can change our colors. And whoops, one of the things I missed is that the parameters are not scalar. So this one is scalar parameter, so you can just hold the key of S and click. That will give you a scalar parameter that you can change in your instance, but we need to change this one as well. So I'm just going to right click, convert to parameter, and I'm just typing color. There you go. Gonna apply and save. And now we can come into the material instance, and as you can see, we have the intensity and the color. So the good thing about this is, again, it can change in real time. So maybe around here, probably. Let's do an intensity of 2 or minus 0.5, like that. Make it a little bit darker. Wait, let's just do 0.5. There you go. So we make it a little bit darker, and yeah, I think so it doesn't look as reddish. And you can even lower this number and maybe add some more fog, which is what I had in the short that I did. We can actually add more fog sheets, and we can cover this terrain over here with some of these pieces, which I'm going to do just so it doesn't have a flat horizon. So I'm going to time lapse this. I'll see you in a little bit. All right, there you go. Just to break that horizon line a little bit. And I think there are some lines right here that I left. Those can easily be taken care of by just grabbing these, pulling some in front. And let's see how that looks real quick. Okay. There you go. Just to make sure that we are breaking that horizon line. And as you can see, you can add more mountains if you wish, but the whole purpose of this tutorial is to show you 2 different ways of adding background assets. All right, everybody, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I would like to know, did you enjoy this video series? Would you like to see more? Is there something from a beginner standpoint that I missed? Because I'm going to follow this with an intermediate level series. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to leave a like, follow me on Twitter, join our Discord to get all your questions answered, and I'll see you in the next video.